Definitely a step up from last week's episode. Satoru is closer to finding his villain than ever before. When last week's episode ended, I had a strong feeling that Ari was going to make it out of that burning house. I was right. Satoru runs into the house to save her. She gains consciousness briefly and gives him her phone that could expose him even further if she had kept it. His manager shows up and takes her to the hospital because Satoru is still a wanted man at this point in the story. The next day, he meets an old friend of his mother's who was in the background in previous episodes, who is a reporter and even has records of all of the past abductions, including Kaiu's. They try to figure out who this mysterious figure could be and how he has been able to stay invisible this whole time. Later in the episode, it's mentioned that he could be a council member of some kind that would have enough control and is able to go under a different alias that we don't know about yet. But it begins to look like the police are going to start treating Ari as a suspect at this point, even mentioning that she could have been the one to help Satoru kill his mother and even help him escape or giving him a place to hide. This doesn't last long though, because Ari sneaks out of the hospital having her mother take her place. She kind of explains to her kind of the similar situation with her father and with Satoru and how they're kind of similar in somewhat, at least based on how she sees it. And so she goes to meet Satoru for one last time before the police show up and capture him. It looks like they either caught her mother or they followed her knowing that she would leave, and they just followed her to Satoru. But this all builds up to Satoru accepting the capture and goes calmly. But as he's being taken away, someone is watching him on the sidelines, and he turns to look at this person and it notices immediately that it's the culprit that he's been after, the one that's essentially been invisible the entire time. But what makes it more interesting is that it seems like time had slowed down drastically. I don't know if it was just for added effect or if it was really going on inside the world. But if that was the case, then this person that Satoru is after does indeed have time travel powers of some kind, or that was Satoru using his powers to slow it down. Either way, it is interesting to see. It all connects to the name of the episode, Grim Reaper, as this villain has gone out of his way to make sure that the people Satoru tries to save end up dying, and regardless of how much he changes in the past either way. But what makes this person clever is that he strategically plans out everything in advance, making sure that there's always someone to frame perfectly so the police can go after them. And this is someone who has been playing the long game essentially, but the question is, does he know about Satoru's time travel powers? We will know soon enough, but I have a feeling we're going to find out very soon as Satoru goes after this person head on. But he's going to have to worry about finding a way to escape the police, or I would think maybe travel back in time one more time to make sure he gets it right. So those are just my thoughts on this week's episode. What do you think of the episode, and what do you think is going to happen in this story? It seems like they're constantly trying to pull a twist in each episode. So either way, thanks for watching. Leave a like on this video and see you next week on the next episode of Erased.